Here, welcome to our Crucifixional live stream. Glad to have you beautiful people with us. For those of us who are Orthodox Christians, we say Christ is risen. A blessed, holy Monday, bright Monday, I should say, to all of you. This is the day after, for us as Orthodox Christians, the day of Pascha, what we call Easter. Hope everyone's great. Hope you had a great Holy Week and all that good stuff. Try to get some rest. We never get rest. We're always bringing it. And I'll tell you that I want to talk this week, or at least today, a little bit about how we submit to the will of God. And sometimes how painful it can be. I'm going to tell you a real story. There was an individual that I was very close with. We spent a lot of time together. We were friends. I mean, really, it was beyond mere acquaintance. It was really good friendship, and I'll spare you the details, but we ended up breaking up, right? We got into a fight, and I had to do something as a result of some of that person's behavior and the way they were, handling things, and it exploded, and they went forward and literally just like trashed my name all over the place. And it's probable that I was in the wrong for sure also. I mean, they were clearly in the wrong. It always takes two. We get all that kind of stuff. But as life went on, I just, I'm old and I don't care about that stuff anymore. I let it go. It was out of my mind. And then you people did something good for me. We were doing a lesson on how to, ask forgiveness and how to grant forgiveness and to be humble enough to go and do it. And I said, oh my gosh, if I'm going to teach that to my warrior saints, I got to be willing to do it. So I called the person. This was like, I'm going to tell you the horror that was in my head. I had to call that person and apologize. And I didn't want to do it. I was like, no way. I didn't do anything wrong, right? I know that they said the same thing, absolutely. But in my mind, I know very clearly the mistakes, where they lay and all that. And I didn't want to apologize. And I didn't want to give that person the ammunition to say, see, Father Chris came back to me. He admitted he was wrong. And so I had all these temptations in my head where I was like trying not to do it. Finally, I forced myself to make the phone call. And I called and I said, look, I'm sorry. The person said, I don't even know what to do with that. I said, I don't think there's anything to do with it. I said, I had to do what I did. It was, it is what it is, but I know it hurt you and I apologize for that. And after I hung up, you would think that I felt good about that. Like, thank God. I felt miserable. I was angry. I was irritated. I felt like I thought I was going to feel, how dare that person, they're going to take this information and say to the world, see, Father crawled his way back to me, admit he was wrong, and all this kind of stuff in my head, this hubris that I was fighting with, right? Like, I was uncomfortable. And then, by God's grace, really, not through no, act of my own, it dawned on me. I was thinking about this verse in Matthew chapter 5, where he says you're going to offer your gift at the altar, and there you realize that your brother has something against you. Drop your gift, leave your gift, right? And then go make peace, and then come back and offer your gift. And so what God is saying is if you're going to bring something to the Lord's table, i.e., your life and the offering that you give back to God, I, God, am commanding you to make sure you go and make peace. And the more I thought about it, it's not about wanting to have peace between me and that person. What Christ was asking me in that verse is, do you love me enough to be willing to set aside your own ego, your own hubris, your own being right in the situation, your own lack of desire to give that person ammunition to use against you? Do you love me enough to put yourself aside and do my business, right? Even if it makes you uncomfortable or feels terrible and all this kind of stuff, and it's not right. Do you love me? And I was like, holy cow, that's what it's all about. It was not about me and that person, though healing and restoration is good. But it's about, am I willing to submit to God? Do you understand? It's a very different way to approach it. And when I thought about that, I said, whoa. I said, I'm a sinful man. I don't do a lot of good things in my life. But that day, at least in that moment, even in spite of the discomfort, I did what God was asking me to do. And I went to someone and submitted my own ego, put it aside so that I could, ask for forgiveness, however you want to say it. And in that moment, I realized that that's really what it comes down to. So for us as warrior saints, again, Father Chris is not a good man, but in that moment I was crucifixional. And that's what it's about for all of us, because we all have this struggle or many struggles in our lives. How do we do God's will? I don't even know what it is. When I read the Bible, sometimes I don't even understand it, what's going on. And then if we do get our hands around it, it's like, oh no, I don't want to because it's uncomfortable and it's going to assault my ego, right? And my hubris. So how do we deal with all that kind of stuff? This is really a challenge. Now it's new for us. Again, I'm speaking to all of our warrior saints, but in particular for Orthodox Christians, it's It's new, baby. I mean, Pascha, right? We sing Christ is risen all the time. Everything's white. Everything's, our vestments, the tablecloth, everything's, the white, the pristine newness of the white garments we wear. Just, the soul. That's the idea. Everything's new from Christ's resurrection. So that means for us, we have that opportunity to start living crucifixionally. It's really hard, but it's really beautiful. And remember, Christ himself on the cross did not go to death like the first Adam. He went through death, right? The tomb was merely a doorway from death to life for the Lord, because he set his own will aside to do the will of the Father. Interested? You want to do the same thing? You want to find some resolution in your own life, whether it be making peace with someone you're fighting with or just starting to live an exceptional life? Pretty simple. Visit us, warriorsaints.org. Time to get some, baby. Get your battle plan. Love you. We'll be back tomorrow. I don't know. We'll talk about something else interesting. Until then, as always, keep walking on the way of the warrior saint.